Have you ever thought about how human trafficking might affect you personally? There are many people in our world and society today that would make the statement that human trafficking does not affect them, and that human trafficking only occurs in foreign countries where there is no justice or laws in place to protect human rights. Today, I would like to discuss this view, as well as the idea that modern-day slavery is a little closer than we all originally thought. We will look at the position that human trafficking does not affect the average person, discuss the implications of this position that human trafficking doesn't affect me, offer some evidence otherwise, and finally see how close to each and every one of us human trafficking really is. So first, let's talk about the idea that human trafficking does not affect the average person. According to this common belief, victims of human trafficking are only foreign nationals, states the Office for Protection of Children. So, for many people in America, it is evident that human trafficking has not and never will affect them because we live in a free country. As many people believe, according to the Office for Protection of Children, human trafficking is a crime that involves some form of travel or transportation. This view claims that especially within the United States, people are fairly employed, and since slavery is illegal, it has disappeared in America and is only evident in countries where human rights laws have not been enacted yet. However, I would like to look at this view a little further with my second point, and that is that by stating that human trafficking does not affect the average person, this position does not take into account the fact that human trafficking can take many forms, such as domestic servitude, forced labor, child labor, sex trafficking, and bonded labor, according to endslaverynow.org. And it also overlooks the fact that human trafficking victims have been robbed of freedom, especially the freedom to make choices about their own lives, according to the Trafficked in Persons Report of June 2014. In my third point, I would like to argue that human trafficking does indeed affect each and every one of us. According to NOVA, human trafficking focuses on the exploitation of vulnerable people for monetary gain by the trafficker. Therefore, it can be found in any labor or service sector. Cases where trafficking have been found include nail salons, cleaning services, farms, independent contractors, hotels, and commercial sex trade, as well as domestic servitude. According to Montgomery News, people think that the trafficking victims are foreign-born, but that's simply not the case. A large percentage of people trafficked in the U.S. are American-born citizens. This is a substantial number of trafficking victims that are born here in our own country. In the CNN Freedom Project blog, number 2 on the blog, called 5 Things to Know About Human Trafficking, is that it is happening where you live. It goes on to say that stories of human trafficking are often set in faraway places like rural parts of Brazil and cities in Cambodia. But enslaved farm workers have been found harvesting tomatoes in Florida and picking strawberries in California. Young girls have been forced into prostitution in cities like LA, all over the United States. Wherever you live, chances are some form of human trafficking has taken place. Number 3 from the Freedom Project blog states that while poverty, lack of education, and belonging to a marginalized group are all factors that increase the risk of human trafficking, victims of modern-day slavery have included children of middle-class families, women with college degrees, and dominant religious or ethnic groups. Number 4 states that the products that you eat, wear, and use every day may have been made by human trafficking victims. Human trafficking isn't just where you're from. It can be in your home, since many of the victims are forced to make many of the products you use every day, like cell phones, jewelry, coffee, chocolate, and rice. Human trafficking and the production of consumer goods is so widespread that people in America have worn, touched, or consumed a product of slavery at some point. This leads me to my last point, and that is comparing the idea that human trafficking does not affect the average person to human trafficking affecting each and every one of us. The position and view that human trafficking does not affect the average person, with the evidence presented, turns out seemingly like an excuse to not do anything about it. By opening our eyes to the reality of modern-day slavery in our own lives, we can't help but notice the injustice of someone being enslaved to make the t-shirt I'm wearing today or the coffee I drank with my breakfast this morning. We have to do something, and it begins with today. Susan K. Stern, chair of Jewish Foundation's North American National Campaign, states that most of us were not aware that this was impacting our own communities. But the issue is serious and widespread. Human trafficking is not only happening to foreign nationals, it's happening to kids in our own communities. In conclusion, we have come to see that the reality of modern-day slavery not only affects the average person, but it does so on a daily basis. Human trafficking is so prevalent in many different areas of our lives, including where we live, what we eat, what we wear, and what we do. My goal today was to review the point of view that human trafficking does not affect the average person and reveal to you that not only does it affect the average person, but it is a reality in my life and your life on a daily basis. I challenge you today to open your eyes to the reality of human trafficking in your own life and seek areas that you can make a difference. Thank you.